right, so the first thing we're going to demonstrate is the foam in the garment for when we treat the silhouette, the back area. Do you mind if I turn you here? The back area, and we do buttock sculpting. So for that, what we're going to use is a garment that typically looks like this. It's sort of like a one-piece bathing suit with a zipper in the front, and then our foam typically looks something like this. There may be some variability based on your procedure, but this is sort of a standard foam and garment. So to put on the garment, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you, notice that the tag for this garment is on the outside. This is important because if you turn it so the tag is on the inside, you're going to have trouble zipping the zipper, all right? So make sure the tag is on the outside. You're going to start by unzipping this, and then it's best if you have an assistant, all right? So your assistant will sit down, and then you will put your hand on your assistant's shoulder for balance, and then we're going to step into the garment. Now this next step is important. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to pull the garment up over the hips and the buttocks before we put the foam in. This allows us to get the garment in place, and then we'll pull it down just enough that we can slide the foam in. We found that this is the easiest way to do. All right, so I'm going to have you pull up from the front, and then I'm going to help pull from the back. We just need to get it over the buttocks and into place. All right, so once this is in place, then we're going to pull down on the garment, and you want to get it low enough that you can see the bottom of where it was treated. Now, usually when we're doing this, we ask patients not to wear underwear. The reason this is that sometimes the underwear can leave an indentation or a line because it's underneath the compression. So usually when you're doing this, you want to be doing this without underwear. All right, so now we're going to take the foam, and there are a couple important features to the foam. The first thing I'm going to demonstrate is you'll notice that a lot of times we'll put some foam triangles that help give a little extra compression over top of in between the buttocks right here, all right? So there's also a cutout for your buttocks there, and there's a little point that needs to sit sort of right in between your butt cheeks, all right? So we're gonna put this in place, and we're gonna make sure that we put it a little bit lower than we think. The reason this is that when we pull the garment up, a lot of times the foam will shift up. So we start by making sure, one, that it's dead center, that the foam diamonds are not touching the skin so you don't get a stamp from the foam diamonds, and then we're going to gently wrap this around, and I'm going to have you hold it in the front, and that kind of holds things in place. So we're a little lower than we think. She's sort of gently holding it in place so it doesn't shift things too much one way or another. And then we're going to start just tucking the garment in. And so I'm going to turn you this way just so we can demonstrate that. And so I think it's easiest to start up in the front with this little wing, and to just kind of tuck that in. And now the garment starts to hold the foam in place. I'm going to turn you just so I can demonstrate that. And I'm going to come up over top of the bottom here, and I'm going to come around to this side, trying to keep things as flat and smooth as you can. And then once we have this in place, then we're going to take an arm here, and you can release the foam because the garment is holding it in place. And we're going to put one arm in here. We're going to put the other arm, let's find it, right there. And then it just sort of lifts into place. So we're going to make sure now that the straps are all untwisted. I'm going to turn you this way. I'm going to make sure that this is covering everywhere that we treated. It's okay if it goes beyond the area that we treated. In fact, we usually want it to. And then we're going to just zip up the middle. And this is usually a two-person job too. So if you'll hold there, and I'll zip here. All right. So now the foam is in place, but we want to do a couple of things to check to make sure that we have it just the way we want it. The first is we want to make sure that it's symmetric and even, and it isn't buckling here. So you can actually reach underneath the leg and kind of pull down on the foam to make sure that it's low enough that it covers all the areas that we treated. We'll do the same thing over here. You'll notice that this one's a little buckled, and the garment has created a little bit of a crease here. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull the foam down, make sure that it's low, make sure that it's even and stretched out, and then I'm going to tug on the garment in order to keep it nice and smooth. The smoother the garment is, the less areas of constriction that can potentially cause a crease, and the more even the compression is. Next, I'm going to turn you a little bit more, and we're going to check to make sure that the diamond is one low enough and centered. And in this case, it is. All right, I'm just going to turn you a little bit so we can see that. The purpose of the diamond is to give just a little extra compression right between the butt cheeks so that we can get good definition in that area. All right, so here we have it. We've got the garment in place, we've got the foam underneath, we're ready to go.